part of making music here at St. Paul's, and so it's our pleasure to have commissioned this piece that you'll hear at the end of the concert to remember her, to remember the great music that she created here, to remember the great joy that she brought through so many decades of worship here at St. Paul's. As I was thinking about this concert tonight, or this afternoon, I kept thinking about Colossians, a verse from Colossians. We find it in the 3rd chapter, and the writer is kind of trying to wrap up his instructions to the people, and he says, "Above all else, put on love, which binds everything together in perfect harmony. And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, to which indeed you were called in one body, and be thankful. Let the word of Christ dwell in you richly, teaching and admonishing one another in all wisdom, singing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs with thankfulness in your hearts to God." So in this passage, he links teaching and singing with hymns and spiritual songs and says that is what helps the word of God, the love of God, dwell in our hearts. I was thinking about that because I think that's what we're celebrating today, the gift of music and how it dwells inside of us, how it continues to teach us and bring us wisdom, how it calls back to mind memories and joy. And we're so grateful for the gift that we have of beautiful music and the way that it can make people and love present to us, and I'm sure that that will happen today. So welcome to St. Paul's, and welcome to this concert.
Hi, I'm Celeste Pille. I'm one of Cindy's 4 kids. So I thought I'd start with something from a Mother's Day gift. A few years ago, we got our mom, Cindy, a Mother's Day gift from Storyworth. And maybe some of you are familiar with them and how that works. But if you're not, this is kind of how it goes. Phase 1 is, wow, this is a great gift idea. The recipient answers prompts throughout the year. It's going to be collected and printed in a beautiful book. Phase 2 is maybe a few months later, and you realize, yeah, we got our mom a gift, but we also kind of gave her a year's worth of homework. But it comes full circle. Phase 3 is when you get the finished product back, and it's beautiful, and you love it, and it was worth it, and the whole family has an invaluable collection of personal thoughts and memories your loved one has spent a lifetime making. And it should come as no surprise to anyone who knew her then that her deep love of music comes up in this book. And I want to share words from Cindy herself to set the tone for this concert. To a prompt that asked her, what is something she can't live without? She said, "I could not live without appreciating, listening to, and performing music. Music fills my soul, calms me down, and helps keep memories alive. Music physically stirs something in my body." So as you listen today, we hope your soul is filled as you experience a peace, even in the wake of loss. Let the melodies you hear bring you memories that you cherish. Let yourself be moved. Cindy touched many lives in many ways, but music was an especially powerful conduit of her warmth and spirit. And on behalf of my family and the St. Paul's Choir, we're so grateful to be able to share that with you today. Before we premiere the new commissioned piece, we have a short selection of songs we thought would complement the music. The first is a song from Candide. This has been a personal favorite, not only of Cindy's, but the whole family, especially since we got to see Gretchen perform it in a fantastic production of the show with the Des Moines Metro Opera. The song ends a show where the characters have been subject to seemingly endless chaos, heartbreak, and senselessness, and they are left to wonder what kind of life or goodness can even be had in these circumstances. It's a feeling I think we've all related to at one point or another. So please welcome our singers Gretchen Pille and John Gethje singing "Make Our Garden Grow."
rights and reproduction purposes, we are muting a few of the songs, but I promise you'll be able to hear the very last song, which is going to be the highlight of the show anyway. So just had to get that out there. So probably the most special part of my relationship with my mom was our really deep love of music. And we would frequently collaborate in different ways. If you go to St. Paul's, you've probably heard us do duets every here and there. My first live performance, she accompanied. It was my first grade talent show performance of You've Got a Friend in Me at Rumsey Station. This song is actually our last collaboration. We had a weird luxury of being able to ask her what she wanted performed at her funeral, and so this is one of the songs that we did. It is a mashup of Thank You for the Music and Dancing Queen. Cindy, is Dancing Queen. She just, you listen to the lyrics of the song and you're like, that's her. However, the words for Thank You for the Music just really, at least for me, encapsulate just, I don't know, everything that I'm so thankful to her for my love of music and my appreciation of art. So that said, I put the two songs together and she kind of helped me do it. And every now and then you'll hear little bits of Dancing Queen throughout. For copyright purposes, I won't hum them now, but listen for them if you're here in the live audience. And in the middle of the bridge, you'll hear Dancing Queen lyrics. It's a lot of fun. And the very last line of the song, she rewrote, instead of saying, thank you for the music, for giving it to me, for the, probably 30th time in the song, she changed it to thank God for the music. So with that, here is, I guess, my version of Dancing Queen. Or thank you for the music, gosh.
favorite of Cindy's, and it is the same arrangement that was sung by Gretchen here in this sanctuary 11 years ago for the wedding of Jim Robinson and our sister Janae. This is For the Beauty of the Earth, arranged by John Rutter. Who are you, reader, reading my poems 100 years hence? I cannot send you one single flower from this wealth of the spring, one single streak of gold from yonder clouds. Open your doors and look abroad. From your blossoming garden, gather fragrant memories of the vanished flowers of 100 years before. In the joy of your heart, may you feel the living joy that sang one spring morning, sending its glad voice across 100 years. That was poem 85 from The Gardener, a collection of poems written by Rabindranath Tagore. "Who are you, reader, reading my poems 100 years hence?" he asked when he wrote it in 1913. And over 100 years later, in this particular instance, the answer was Gretchen Pille in about 2016. She had been emailed the poem by a professor who sent out poetry weekly to former students for a bit of inspiration, and this one resonated with her enough to send it to our mom. She also found it meaningful, and the two of them discussed why it struck such a chord. For Cindy, it reminded her of the times she looked out on the pastures of the farm she grew up on and thought about all the different people and lives that crossed this beautiful landscape in the centuries before her. When our family and the St. Paul's Choir had the opportunity to commission a piece to honor her memory through music, we wanted to incorporate this poem. A poem built on the hope that wonderful and ephemeral things like flowers, a particular morning sunlight, or even a person's earthly life can sing out joy even hundreds of years after they're gone. This is what we hope to share with you with this song today, and to every singer and listener who may encounter it even a century from now. To ensure her musical legacy, the St. Paul's Choir and her family commissioned a composer who is not only talented, but a friend of the family whose work Cindy loved. So I'd love to welcome Gretchen to introduce this friend and artist.
Yes, so today we have my friend Charlie Leftridge, who has so graciously written this for us. It's a really beautiful piece. Charlie was my friend in college, is my friend. We met in college. We were in the same choir at UNL, and whenever we would sing his works a lot that he had written, our choir would, and my mom was at literally every performance, and she would always we'd always talk about like what our favorite pieces were, and whenever there was a Charlie piece on it, she would always kind of gravitate towards those. She really loved the sound of them. So when he agreed to do this, it was a really special thing for me, and I think for her. So this is Charlie Leftridge. He's going to come up and just say a little bit about how he sets this text and about the piece.
Well, thank you, Gretchen, and thank you, everyone who's here today to experience this music with us. I was very moved when Gretchen brought to my attention again this beautiful, beautiful text. I also am somebody who just loves nature, and I love the idea that God imbues nature with themselves, and that's how we experience God in the day-to-day, and how we experience the joy that people from long ago also experienced that joy and that nature. And I don't think there's anything more powerful than getting to share words, and especially when it can be joined with music. It just brings so much joy and life to me, and I just hope that as you get to listen to this beautiful poem, that you remember that God works through us, not only in our own lives, but in the ripples that come out through us and the lives that we touch. And even though I didn't personally get to meet Cindy, I feel very touched, and I hope you will too.
So I thought a good way to bookend this would be to end with another story of a Mother's Day gift. Our family had the good fortune of being able to celebrate Mother's Day last year with the knowledge that this time with her was special and the opportunity to act on that knowledge. For our gift, each of us kids wrote a little something thanking her for a gift she gave us that we would always carry with us. We shared the words with her so she knew what her legacy of living joy would be. We each described something unique, but they were all things we shared in common, maybe to varying degrees. A goofy sense of humor, an artistic eye, a love of making people feel like they belong. Our brother Grant thanked her for endowing him with a love of music. He described how pursuing the joy of music led to deep friendships, built as solidly and dynamically as the chords of a song. It provided an important emotional outlet because sometimes there are feelings that can only be expressed with the strings of a guitar. And that same joy has gathered us here today, making new music and new memories in gratitude of her life and musical gifts. So on behalf of our family, I want to thank the St. Paul's Choir for making this possible and for singing it. It was beautiful. Thank you to Charlie for such a beautiful composition. Thank you to John Hewitt and Donna for helping us learn it. Thank you for Barb for playing so beautifully. And thank you to all of you for joining us. Please join us after for a reception generously put together by Barb Berg, Donna Guess, Connie Ozan, and Ingrid DeLate. It's just amazing how the people who love Cindy so much have come together to put something together so special. So thank you for being part of it, and please go eat cookies now. Thank you.